Hello everyone, my name is Sophia, and for those of you who don't know me, I am a nursing student. I will be graduating this December 2020 with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you all about how to pass your nursing school skills checkoff. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what a skills checkoff is, it's basically where you have to demonstrate to your instructor how to perform a certain nursing skill. So in your skills checkoffs, you usually act like you are about to perform the skill on a real-life patient, but instead you will demonstrate to your professor how to do it on like a mannequin. So during my first and second semesters of nursing school, I had several skills checkoffs. I had skills checkoffs on how to insert Foley catheters, on how to hang IV fluids, how to do a head-to-toe assessment on a patient, and how to take vitals. And I had some other skills checkoffs as well, but those were kind of the main ones. Nursing school checkoffs can be kind of intimidating and kind of scary, but at the end of the day, they are there for a good reason. It's really good to be checked up on these skills before you do them on real-life patients. The whole point of nursing school checkoffs is to really show your professor that you're able to do the skill so that you can perform it safely on a patient at a hospital. Usually, your nursing school checkoffs will be completed before you actually start clinicals. So now that I'm going into my fourth semester of nursing school this fall, I am completely done with all my nursing school checkoffs, and I wanted to film a video for you all on how to pass your nursing school checkoffs on your first shot. I will be giving you all my tips and tricks for passing your nursing school checkoffs in this video. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so my first tip for you all on how to pass your nursing skills checkoffs is to read the rubric that you are handed out in class. So oftentimes for your nursing school checkoffs, you will be given a rubric, and that rubric is going to include all the steps you must perform in order to demonstrate how to do that skill. Now, this rubric is really important for you to go over because oftentimes this rubric is going to be the same exact rubric that your professors are going to use to grade you when you are demonstrating how to do this skill. So what I recommend is that when you get this rubric, first, just read the rubric. Don't take any notes, don't highlight anything, just read it. It's really good to just read the rubric over one time so you just kind of get familiar on what you are expected to do. You don't want to take any notes on your first pass of reading. You just want to kind of get familiar with what you are about to perform. So after you have read it once, I now recommend that you read it a second time. And now this is where you can start to take some notes and highlight some important information on your rubric. Oftentimes on your rubric, you will have some little detailed steps in between your main steps on how to perform that skill. So one is maybe you're supposed to change out your gloves before you move on to this step. Or maybe you're supposed to wash your hands before you move on to this step. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to those details and make note of them on your rubric so that you don't miss those important steps when you're performing the skill in front of your instructor on the actual checkoff day. So now that you have read your rubric and you have taken some notes on your rubric, it's time to now actually memorize those steps on your rubric. And how you actually memorize all of those steps is by practicing. So that brings me to my next important tip, which is to practice for your skills checkoff. So it's really important that you practice actually performing the steps of your checkoff multiple times. You want to practice as much as you can and maybe start practicing at least a week or two in advance of your skills checkoff date. So what I recommend is that you practice on your friends, practice on your family members, and really utilize the time that you are given in lab to practice on the mannequins. So oftentimes before a skills checkoff, my friends and I would actually practice on each other. One checkoff we had was an assessment checkoff. We had to show how we would assess a patient from head to toe. So basically, my friends and I, we would practice doing a head-to-toe assessment on each other. If you're able to practice on a person, it is so much easier to practice on a mannequin on your skills checkoff date. Another thing I recommend is that when you are practicing with your friends, have one person read the rubric and make sure that you are performing all the necessary steps on the rubric. It's really important to have like one friend that's just paying attention to the rubric and making sure that you're completing all the steps so that you don't miss anything out and you're getting good practice with that. Now, like I said, it's really important to use the time you have in lab to practice for your skills checkoffs. And one thing I recommend is that you have your instructor, if possible, watch you perform that skill. So maybe just ask your instructor, I have done this several times, to just watch you doing that skill and see if they have any tips for you or if that you're doing it correctly, because your instructor is going to be the one that's going to grade you on your skills checkoffs. So it's always a good idea to have your instructor watch you in lab if possible. They usually will have a lot of good tips or might want you to do something a certain way. If you are able to implement what they want you to do a certain way in lab, then you know exactly what to do on your skills checkoff day. It's also a wonderful idea to practice on your family members, practice performing all the steps on them. I have practiced on my family members several times and have made them like the patient, and I talk to them like they are a patient. Another thing you can do is utilize whatever you have around you to help you practice. So like if you are doing a skills checkoff on how to insert a Foley catheter, maybe get like a teddy bear and practice inserting a Foley catheter on that teddy bear. Just use whatever you have around you, whether that be friends, family members, or stuffed animals, and practice, performing those skills on whatever you have. And another thing I recommend is that when you are practicing, definitely time yourself. For my school, there were certain checkoffs that actually had a time limit, so I wanted to make sure that I would be able to perform that skill in the amount of time that I would be given on checkoff day. Okay, so my next tip for you all is to create a script. This is really helpful if your rubric is not so clear or you don't really know how to kind of like act on your checkoff day. So like I said, you will often be given a mannequin or something to perform on your skills checkoff day. And you have to treat this mannequin as if it was a real life patient, and you have to talk to that patient and explain what skill you're doing. That's what your professors usually want to see. Your professors still want to make sure that you are acting like this mannequin is a real person and that you're teaching this patient what you're about to do and why you're performing this skill. So what I recommend is that you might want to create like a little script or have an idea on what you're going to say on your checkoff day. One skills checkoff that I made a script for that was very helpful was for my head-to-toe assessment checkoff. And basically, what I did is I created a script on what I would say for each area of the body that I had to assess, and then the actions just kind of came along with it. Having a script really helped to kind of get me organized and have a sense of flow for when I was to perform on my skills checkoff day. Okay, so my fourth tip for you all is record yourself practicing. So it's really a good idea to kind of just record yourself practicing and completing all the steps that you will need to do on your skills checkoff day. If you record yourself, you can watch yourself and see, did I miss something? Should I improve this? Should I say this instead? Watching yourself really, really helps you. Not only is recording yourself really good for seeing what you need to maybe correct, but it's also a really good method for memorizing. Because if you watch yourself doing that skill over and over again, then you kind of have it down. You kind of know, okay, I got this. Like, I know what I'm going to do on my skills checkoff day because you've watched yourself do it so many times. Watching something over and over again really helps you to memorize it and become so familiar with that skill. Another great thing about recording yourself is you could even send that video to your friends and see if they have any suggestions for you. Another great thing is that if you record yourself, then you can just kind of have your rubric and you can see, okay, did I do everything in the video? And you can follow the rubric along while you're watching your videos. So recording yourself is a great tip for helping you to do well on your skills checkoff. Alright, so my final tip for you all, and I think this is the most important tip, and that is to visualize yourself doing the steps of the checkoff and passing your skills checkoff. So sometimes when we go into a skills checkoff, we are so nervous and we're like, oh my goodness, I'm just going to fail. I'm not going to know what to do. This is going to go horrible. And that mindset is really terrible. Instead, visualize yourself performing all of these steps for the skills checkoff amazing, like you did every single step right. Imagine your instructor telling you you passed and how you would feel, and imagine yourself like walking out of the lab room and having passed your skills checkoff and now you're just free. So imagine the outcome that you want. Visualization is so powerful. There have been so many studies on visualization and the benefits of visualizing. You know, athletes in the Olympics, they visualize themselves a lot. So visualization is super powerful. It puts you in a really positive mindset. I've used visualization several times and it really helps you to feel more confident before going in to perform your skills checkoff in front of your instructor. Okay, so those were my 5 tips on how to pass your nursing skills checkoffs. So if somehow you do fail your skills checkoff, just know that that is okay. You usually have another chance or maybe 2 more chances to pass these nursing skills checkoffs. And if you don't pass the first time, feel free to reach out to your instructors and don't feel bad at all. Nursing skills are very challenging and it can take a lot of practice and a lot of experience in order to be able to perform that skill correctly. So don't feel bad if you do fail your nursing skill checkoff. Also, don't feel bad if you feel like you didn't give yourself enough time to practice these nursing skill checkoffs. Instead, just do the best you can and visualize the outcome that you want. Nursing school is so challenging and these nursing skill checkoffs can be really intimidating. And the best thing you can do is just be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and just know that everything will work out eventually. So I hope you all found this video helpful. If you have any questions about nursing skills checkoffs or anything about nursing, feel free to leave me a comment down below and please subscribe and I will talk to you all in my next video. Bye.